you can pass with ease. So let us follow the past questions and then what we are learning here. And then I believe that it will be fine with us. You can pass with ease. So let me go to the books that we are going to need. Again, I've mentioned the first two already. So what the remaining ones are these ones. So you need to get this one, and this one. There are soft copies available. I can share with you so that somebody's microphone.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for muting your microphone. All right. So if you want to talk, then you can unmute it for me. Right. So please, I can share these ones with you. But what you also need is this book, Dominic Knapp. At this point, maybe unmute and tell me if you have it. How many of us have Dominic Knapp?
I don't have it. So you add it.
Okay. So unfortunately, Fred, this one I don't have a copy here. So Irana, you have one.
If coronavirus will permit you, come for one.
I'll come for one. Me, I'll come for one.
Okay.
I'll come for one.
Are we sharing the book by elimination?
He said if coronavirus will permit you.
Me, it has permitted me.
That's why we have dispatch riders. They can pick up and drop. Then you pay via Momo.
Okay, so I'll share one with you. I have to.
Thank you very much.
Hey, you are still doing elimination by 12:30, so
even the dispatch rider, we can't trust them.
Don't worry. Before you pick up, you wear gloves and masks, and leave it down for about a year before you go back to it.
Yeah, by that time,
it's like a medical office.
So how do I get a copy myself? Francis, how come I never saw a copy of this book?
Myself, I'm even surprised.
You are surprised.
This is your third session.
My third.
Oh.
I never finished any session.
Okay. So please, let's get the Dominic now. And then as for the past questions, there is a must. Because the past questions will teach you how the exams is going to look like. It appears oil and gas is not difficult. And last sitting, everything.
This is my third attempt.
Right. Mute your
yes.
Because there's a radio at your back. If there's no noise at your back, that's fine. But there seems to be a radio at your back. You see, Derek's this thing is on, but I think there's no noise coming from there. So I'm okay with it. Okay. So for the past questions, you need them. And we are going to use them extensively. And then you need a practice notes. So I have these two. I don't have this one. So those of you who can go to Irabana for one, you can quickly rush to her for one. And then this act, I'll send you the soft copies, but I will urge that you get the hard copies. Okay. If you think that you can also use your office machine, you can steal your office machine to print it. That's also fine. Okay. So let's first of all get an understanding of the whole natural resource environment and how do we tax them. It is not the expectation of the examiner for you to know how to mine gold or how to drill. Okay. But the important thing is that natural resource is a specialized area. Oil and gas is a specialized area. if you do not understand it, you cannot tax it. It's as simple as that. And recently, the GRA has been explaining, they have been complaining that they don't have even petrochemical engineers in GRA. So if you don't have petrochemical engineers, how do you tax tallow? So the purpose of this, some of the topics or some of the things that we are going to do is that it's not for you to know exactly what goes on there, but at least to have a fair idea, so that if you're a GRA officer and you go in there, you can understand when they mention some of the things, especially if you are calculating the capital allowance and all those things. If you send you to Obuasi Mines and you go and see in their financial statement reconnaissance license $20 million, you ask yourself, what is reconnaissance? So that is why we are going to introduce you to some simple terms that you need. If we tell you what is Brent crude oil, you should be able to tell. You understand? Well, if we ask you what is FPSO, you should be able to know some of these basic things. So throughout the lecture, we are going to mention some technical terms, and then you follow. Then in exams, so you're going to answer some questions that relates to it, especially questions that relates to the law. So I must say that this law 815 is so critical. And if you don't understand it, the lawyers among us will teach you. Okay, 815 is so critical. You need to get and understand them. And then 919, the Petroleum Exploration and Production Act, is so critical that you need to know the provisions. What does the law say? Not only will it help you in exams, but in your practice as well. The last time Ali Nachia was saying that there are a lot of tax consultants who do not know much about the oil and gas. And so when their clients come to them, they are stuck. And so it is time for those of us joining now to specialize in it. We have people who specialize in oil and gas law, and they don't know much about the taxation. Recently, there was a company that was about to fold up, and there was a lot of noise in Parliament that they should pay the taxes before they go. I don't remember the name of the company. I don't know whether you were following the story also. So GRA was saying that yes, they are going to collect.
I think it's tallow or something.
It's tallow. No, it's not tallow.
No, this company. Yeah, tallow or something. I forgot. I think it's
not tallow. It's Cosmos.
The Cosmos.
Is it Cosmos?
Folding up now. There's a publication that tallow is folding. Parliament should come and collect the tax.
They are supposed to pay taxes, but because there's an agreement for Ghana to take over tallow. So for the tax aspect has been managed. But there's another company that's also folding up. I think they are also folding up and going to the USA. I think it's Cosmos. And they are supposed to also pay their tax before they leave.
So you see, in the payment of taxes, then the GRA people must come in. If you don't understand the industry, forget. You can't tax anything. You see it? They'll take you there, and what they will tell you is what you take. So we'll try and understand some of the systems. So, and then finally,
I think it's an adako.
I think it should be, because something. Yeah.
It's an adako.
Okay. Then there's also an aspect of small scale mining. We've been expecting the examiner to examine small scale mining for a very long time. He has not examined it. So please don't forget, we are going to talk about small scale mining, its impacts on the environment. So in this picture that I've shown, you can see that this is mining. So we are going to learn things about this equipment. How do you depreciate them? Okay, we are going to talk about them. This mining list, this site, we'll be talking much about them. This is oil and gas. Okay, we'll be talking these machines. We are going to deal with them. How do we capitalize this one? How do we calculate the capital allowance on this one? We are going to learn all these things. And then Brent crude, when the oil has been lifted and everything is now refined, we need to know something about this. And then this is the small scale mining, like I said. Should we continue to mine, or we should preserve the environment. This is River Pra. This was before. This is before, and this is now. So let me ask, do you think we should continue to mine? This can be an argumentative question. Do you think we should continue to mine small scale, or we should ban and we should preserve the environment?
If it will destroy, I should stay under the ground.
Which is this?
It is destroying us, so you should stay under the ground.
But this is money.
Oh, we can survive. There are other areas that we can get money from. After all, we don't even know what we are getting from this petroleum, whatever, and this mineral.
Hey, Fred, are you the one talking?
Yes, I am the one talking.
But Rabna, have you gotten the oil money some?
Hey, Fred, you let me keep quiet.
All right, so let's look at natural resource. Natural resource for this paper, for the purpose of this this paper. When we say natural resources, every endowment that we have, that God gave us. But for us, we are not going to look at all other minerals. For example, forestry, we are not going to do forestry. Water, fisheries, they are all natural resources. We are not going to look at them. We are going to look at only mining, oil, and gas. And normally we put this thing together because one of them is a byproduct. If you get oil, you get gas. Then we talk about mining. So anything mining. So we'll deal with gold, we'll deal with the bauxite, anything at all that we call mining. We will be talking about it, and then oil and gas. But mostly, the oil and gas is the major part. Oil and gas covers larger portion of the exams. That is what we are going to do. But let's look at the constitutional provisions, because it's very critical. These are fundamental things that we need to know. Article 257 says that every mineral in its natural state, and this definition, you see it in most of the laws that you are going to read. Okay, yeah, it talks about ownership of the natural resource. Every mineral in its natural state, under upon any land in Ghana, rivers, streams, water course throughout Ghana, the exclusive economic zone, and any area covered by the territorial sea or continental shelves is the property of the Republic of Ghana and shall be vested in the President on behalf and in trust for the people of Ghana. So every mineral, whether in the land or anywhere, if you find it, it belongs to what? Ghana. So what this means is that if you are farming and you find gold, it means that it is on or upon the land. You have to go and give it to the government of Ghana because it's not for you. Is that not what the law is saying? It says it's the property of the Republic of Ghana.
I see.
So if you are farming and you find gold, please go and hand it over to the Republic of Ghana. Now, Article 268. 268. Fred, read it for me.
Article 268. 1. Any transaction, contract, or undertaking involving the grant of a right or a concession by or on behalf of any person, including the government of Ghana, to any other person or body of persons, howsoever described, for the exploitation of any mineral, water, or other natural resource of Ghana, made or entered into after the coming into force of this constitution, shall be subject to ratification by Parliament.
Good.
2. Okay.
So, if the agreement is not signed, and those of you who remember, I this guy's brother, Muhammad's brother, wanted to mine the bauxite. It got to a point where Parliament raised the issue that it was not ratified by Parliament. So that agreement is void. So any oil and gas agreement, any mining agreement that you see, which the question tells you that the agreement has not been ratified by Parliament, please, it is null and void. So they must be signed. That is the constitutional provision. So let's note that in exams, if they mix it for you and you are unable to find out that the agreement was not signed, then you misfire. That's the constitutional provision. Okay, so our focus is not to look at this legal environment, but we are tax people. So we want to see how do we tax such industry. Okay, so we have to spend more time trying to learn how the operations work, because if you don't understand the operations or if you don't understand the industry, you cannot. So they are supposed to work within some legal framework. They are supposed to work within some legal framework. Or if we want to tax them, what legal framework must we ensure they abide by? So the key laws that regulates the oil and gas sector, mining oil and gas sector. The first one is the constitution, which we have looked at the constitution. Please, you can spend time and pick your constitution and then look at the natural resources, the natural resource section, to give you a lot of information about how our constitution specifies, and the constitution is the supreme. So if you are doing something which does not comply with the constitution, then you have a problem. We are also going to see, or we are also going to read the Petroleum Exploration and Production Law. This one has been amended and repealed. So this is the one we are going to use now. It's one of the laws that I say you should get. So I'll send it to you via WhatsApp, and then you can print it. Some of you have already printed it. But if you have not, then please, you need to print it, and then you can. Now, we also have the PNDC Law 188. Now, you remember in the morning, I said that this law, when I was giving the general brief of the tax systems in Ghana, this is one of the laws. This one has been in existence since 1987. I don't know whether those times we were doing petroleum, but petroleum started in commercial quantities, I think in 2004 or something. But we had a law. When we were passing income tax 896, between section 63 to 76, we lifted something from PNDC Law 188. We lifted it and placed it in 896 because it dealt with income tax. But unfortunately, mostly when a law is, when you want to repeal a law, you need to repeal it. You need to repeal it so that the law becomes a dead law. But this law never got repealed, which means that even though we have the Income Tax Act, which makes provision for petroleum, we still have this law existing. So sometimes the examiners can examine you on this particular law. Is that okay? So we will look at it. Now, my favorite law is this one, 815, the Petroleum Revenue Management Act. It is the law that governs how the revenue that we have gotten from the petroleum should be managed. It is very, very key. Now that we are in crisis, we must go and tap into one of the funds. Which funds are we going to tap in? Have you been following the story?
Isn't the stabilization fund or something?
Good, the stabilization fund. So that fund was provided under this act. So in exams, we are going to ask you, what is the stabilization fund? How do we fund the stabilization fund? What are we supposed to use the stabilization fund for? When are we supposed to? What are the processes and procedure for the Minister of Finance to tap into the stabilization fund? All these things are contained in Act 815. So as for Act 815, we have to learn it in and out. In and out. If you have difficulty, contact Redeemer. She can help you very, very well.
I beg your pardon.
You heard me? You didn't hear me?
I heard you.
Okay, so our friends are going to ask you for you to help them with the Petroleum Revenue Management Act.
I don't remember agreeing to distribute same.
Okay, I hear you. Then we need to know the Petroleum Commission Act because they are in charge of petroleum. So tomorrow, if an ADACO is going and a new company is coming, and they say, okay, come and help them with, or even if you get a job over there and you are supposed to advise certain things, you need to go and look at that act. So the Petroleum Commission Act will look at it. And then GMPC is one of the institutions that I don't like, but they are very relevant. You can never sign any petroleum agreement in Ghana without going through them. I think they waste a lot of money sponsoring Black Stars. Why? Anyway, they are there. Why should they sponsor Black Stars?
We don't sponsor Black Stars anymore.
You don't, eh?
Yes, we stopped. We've stopped.
Oh, then good. But why? But I hear the paper. You recognize it through. They pay very well.
Once they stop
It is a guy.
Come again.
It is the Ghanaian people. We bash them and they stop sponsoring the Black Stars.
Hey.
This is propaganda. Can we go on?
This is not propaganda. This is our money. This is our money. Why should you sponsor Black Stars? And those days, they go and use coefficient of 7 to share the money.
Is it not the national team? What is your problem?
What? Leave it for the private companies to sponsor.
Then anyway, why don't they sponsor the disabled sports team?
The disability those disabled. Why don't they sponsor those ones? Anyway, so we will look at the PNDC, the GMPC law. We'll look at what do they exactly do in the petroleum and natural resource chain, and then we also look at the local content law. You've heard about it, isn't it? The petroleum local content law. We will look at it. You see, the essence of you going through all these things is not just to make not to make you a lawyer, but I can't see why you were a consultant leading a whole petroleum contract and you will never have any idea with this loss. It's impossible. You embarrass yourself. So please, these laws that I've mentioned, let us go and look for them, and then we'll follow. And then we'll also look at the mining regulations as well. Okay, I'm going to look at the major revenues from these natural resources. It applies to both oil and gas and mining. Okay, mining, but I'll be talking more about it when I refer to it as oil and gas. Please remember that it also applies to the mining. There are revenues that we get from these natural resources. And so if somebody comes and say he wants to go and mine, you can see my screen, isn't it?
Yes, please, we can.
Okay.
Yes, I can.
All right. So these revenues, whether you like it or not, in fact, those of you who can come for the past question, you can come for them. And then in our next session, I will explain to you why these revenues are there. They are always examined. We examine them every time. So, because if you don't know the revenue you are going to tax, why are you going there in the first place? So, these are the revenues. And you will be asked to explain them in exams. That's all we want you to. That's all we want you to do. Once a while, I think last 2 sittings you were asked to calculate surface rental. So we'll give you some small data. Then we'll give you the name of the company, an ADACO, A, B, C, D, then we'll give you the fact. Then we ask you to calculate the surface rental that is due the government of Ghana. Then you do that. And then royalties too, we can ask you to calculate the royalties. And but where we need you to calculate, we'll ask you to calculate. But first, let's look at the nature of these revenues and what they mean. So we have royalties. Then we have carried interest. We have additional interest. Please note the distinction between these two. Carried interest and additional interest. These two. Then we have petroleum income tax. We have additional oil entitlement, surface rentals, any other income or rentals. Then we have technology allowance and then training allowance. Mostly this one is GMPC who collects it. GMPC who collect the money and then they will chop it. Rabbi, I'm not on you today.
No worries. No wahala.
Okay. Okay, so for example, this one was August 2013. Question 1. Explain briefly the following sources of revenue to the government of Ghana from the upstream petroleum operations in Ghana. Good. And then let me also explain the upstream and then the downstream. Upstream means that this one happens in the sea. So we have two chains. The downstream, this was the retail up to the pump. So any activity, that one we are not learning them now. We are not learning them now. So for example, how petroleum are priced and all those things. We are not learning them here. Petroleum pricing and all this.
Can I make an input?
Yeah.
Another school of
Hey, you work with a petroleum company. She works with a petroleum company, so we'll get to a point where she will be teaching the subjects.
Francis, will you pay me?
Don't worry.
What is in heaven?
There is a midstream. Those that are involved in the refining of the product before it gets to the retailer.
Okay. So she has divided into two: the upstream, midstream, and then the downstream. Okay. So most of the things that we are going to do, the calculations and most of the things, we are going to concern ourselves with the what? The upstream. Okay. And when we get there, please, she's an expert in petroleum. She will help us with the. Your company is a downstream.
Yes, it's a BDC, it's a downstream company.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
So in August 2013, we asked you to explain royalties, carried interest, additional oil entitlement, surface rental, and then so this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it means that each of them is what? 5 marks. You see, oil and gas is one of the papers you can easily pass. You don't struggle. I really don't see how you can struggle to fail this paper. If you struggle to fail, then you Osha. See? Oh, the last time one student from our school got 90%. They just repeat them. You see, so you are going and you know the questions you are going to answer. You see it. 2 calculations, 3 written. And the written, one of the sources of revenue is 1. Then about 3 questions, 2 other questions will come from the Petroleum Revenue Management Act. This act, this one, 815. So if I were you, I would just know, and it's not many. I think it's about 55 sessions or so. 55 sessions. 1 to 18 is the most important ones. Then 56 to I think 62. Then you are gone. You answer it and then you go. I don't know. This guy is not on it. I don't know what marks he got last sitting. But last sitting they just repeated the same questions they brought the last time. Just that they changed the name and then they will change 1 or 2 things. And sometimes mostly question 4. is on mining calculation. Then question 5 is on petroleum calculation. Then question 1, question 2, question 3 are written, where they give you some freeze. Just write short notes. The examiner doesn't want to disturb people. After all, royalties will continue to be royalties. You see, it's not like international taxation where the books are many, so we can examine from any angle. So let's take note. But that does not mean that you shouldn't read the materials. Please go and get the law, and then let's learn it. Okay, so royalties, just like you pay for a royal. When we say royal, it is something inheritance. It's our property. It's for us. So you are supposed to pay something for the rights. So whether it is mining or it is oil and gas, we are saying that you must pay a royalty for us. Okay, and that royalty is a right. It's a free right. It is for us. The fact that we cannot go and dig for the gold does not mean that we cannot benefit from it. So even if we don't get anything at all, as for the royalty, we must get. Understand? So the royalties is the right you pay for taking either the oil, the gas, or the mining for the natural resources. Rosalind is still trying to is Sylvia lying?
Hi, I'm online.
Sylvia. Okay, let's continue. Maybe in the next class they can join us. So, irrespective of the profits you make, it is normally calculated. It is normally calculated as the quantity of production that you make. So if it is tons of gold and you produce 20,000 tons of gold, then we say if it is 5% and you produce 2 million, then we take it from it. If it is 2 million barrel, we take the percentage from what you have produced. Now, the funny thing is that the rate ranges for the oil and gas sector. The rate ranges between 4%. 4% is for normally the companies that came in 2004. Okay. At the time we started, somebody's microphone is on. Nicholas.
So your screen is not changing.
Come again. My screen is not changing. Can you see it now? Nicholas, can you see it?
Hello.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Somebody say
I've
no.
seen it too.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So when I finish, I'll take feedback from you guys. Okay, I'll take feedback from you guys about the technology. Those of you who are using very low.
I can see your screen.
Okay, those of you who are using slow internet, then we have to fix you. Okay, we'll let you buy TurboNet so that you run like a turbojet. So 4% is for mostly the company that started, for those who started earlier. So I'm coming. Let me show you something. I want to show you something, then I'll show you gas. I'm looking for some material to show you. Just 1 minute. It seems I'm not getting it, but I wanted to show you the okay. I'll share that one with you. Then you notice that the rate for the royalties is not static. Okay, it depends. If you're able to negotiate better, you will have a. I think I still need to show this one. Guys, give me 5 minutes. Let me pick that material. Hey, did I say 5 minutes? No, not 5 minutes. 1 minute, I want to show you the rates we have now. In the meantime, if someone has a question, you can ask. Am I online?
Yes.
You're online.
Okay, so I'm looking for something for you, but in the meantime, if you have any question for me. No question for me so far.
No.
Oh, the thing is not here. Okay, I'll share with you later on. Where I wanted to show you how the royalty rates have been changing. So Tallow, for example, got their royalties at 4%. But now when you come, you are likely to get it at a higher rate, because at the time when we went into oil and gas, we didn't have much experience with oil and gas. So we're accepting any rate that these people who came from outside gave us. When they can say, okay, I'm going to produce oil, then they negotiate and say, okay, this job is risky, so they are prepared to pay only 4%. And then as a country, we accepted it, because after all, we cannot go and bring the oil from the sea. And we accepted it like that. But now it's like our eyes are opening, and we are now accepting. If you come and your royalty rate is not good, we will not accept. Then you go, another person will come. So it's more competitive now. Okay, so mostly the royalty depends on the petroleum agreement or the mining agreement. So PA means the petroleum agreement. Okay. I'll share with you some slide that shows the current trends of the royalties that we charge.
Sir Francis.
Yeah.
So once the rate is agreed between the operator or the contractor and that of the government, can't it be revised subsequently when you realize that indeed they are making a lot of money?
It can, but you see, there's a time. Can you see my slide, my screen now?
Yes, please, I can see.
We can see.
So this is the Act 919. there's a duration for the agreement. So this 919, this is what I say we have to learn. Okay. So look at petroleum agreement, section 10. Let's look at section 10 and see how the agreement is done. These people, when you want to vary the agreement to their disadvantage, they won't agree. They will tell you that no, you sign it. So petroleum agreement is mostly for a period of section. Where is section 10? Section 10 provides somewhere which says that there been a duration. Oh, someone should help me. Who has read this? Rujima.
Yes.
Help me. Where can I find the duration of the petroleum agreement? Good. Duration. Section 14.
Okay.
Can you see my slide? You can see my screen, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay. It says a petroleum agreement shall subject to subsection 2B for a period of not more than 25 years. So we sign a petroleum agreement for 25 years. Then we agree on the rate. Now, if you agree on the rate to be 5%, and you are the owner of the petroleum agreement, and then tomorrow MPP come and say they want to increase it to 20%, will you agree?
No.
Yes. So agreement is agreement. If you are not careful, it will turn into a whole legal matter. So, or when you are signing the agreement, we expect Rabna and her team and other people at Petroleum GMPC to do a very good job to sign good agreement for us. Because if you are not careful when you sign the agreement, you flop yourself. And some of the terms are very, very difficult to change. So that is it. We'll come and learn the Act 919 more into details. Is that okay? All right. Any other question? Or else we go to carry the...
Sir, please, I have a question. Concerning the second line, can you throw more light on it? It is levied as a percentage of gross value of oil and gas that's produced, irrespective for profitability. So
Yes,
does
so
it mean if the company is not viable, it still pay tax? Or?
Oh yes, this one is the production. This is paid on production. You get it? So it is a royalty. Whether you are making profit or not, you have to pay your royalty. It's like sand weighing. You know, in some villages, if you want sand, if you go and extract the sand, you pay something to the chief. In the villages, this one you pay to Ghana government. So whether you are making profit or not, we are not. That's not our listen. We look at the quantity, the gross value of the production, then we take it. So you can make 200 million barrels of oil, and the law will come and learn that the law says that all of these things must be given in kind. When we start reading the law, so petroleum must be given in kind. And let me go there. So we'll go to section 85 of the 919, and I'll show you something. That's it. Don't worry, I'll share this one. I'll share this act with you so that. But I want to show you and say that we don't collect cash. We collect the oil. Give it to us. So payment of royalties. Have you seen it? Section 85. It says, the contractor shall pay to the Republic royalty in respect of gross volume of petroleum produced and saved. Have you seen it?
No, I've not seen it though.
Oh, Nicholas, can you see my screen? Fred, can you see my screen?
I'm still on the. Are you still on the overview of revenue types?
Yes, but I'm showing something on the payment of royalties.
No, I can't see that one.
You can't. No, on my screen, not in the material. Who can see my screen?
I can see your screen, but it's still the slides.
But can you read for me? Can you read what is there?
We can see the overview.
Oh, just the overview.
Yes, the overview.
Oh, you cannot see this one.
Yeah.
No, I cannot see any material.
Oh. What about this one?
Okay. I think maybe we can move on and go and read it subsequently once we have the sessions.
Okay. I see why. Hold on for me. Just 1 minute. So what you can see is still the overview. Fred.
Yes, man.
The screen is gone.
It's better now.
Okay. So you can see the royalties.
Yes.
Good. Good. So this is what I was explaining.
Okay, it's better.
It's better now.
Yeah.
Good. So this is what I was saying, that Section 85 of the Petroleum Exploration Act says that the contractor, and the contractor here is talking about the oil producing company, the contractor shall pay to the Republic royalties in respect of gross volume of gross volume of petroleum produced and saved. So it is on production, not on profit. Then 2 says the royalty to be paid is as prescribed, except that where the rate of royalty payable are not prescribed, royalty shall be paid as otherwise provided in accordance with the terms of the petroleum agreement in respect of the area to which the agreement relates. So your rate depends on the agreement that we have signed with the government. And Derek was asking whether we can change the rate. And I'm saying that from Section 10, you sign the agreement for no more than 25 years. Sometimes if you are changing the agreement to the detriment of the people, they will not normally agree. Even with the levy, do you know that the levy, that the 5% levy that will strip off from the VAT, they don't pay, because they are saying that the agreement, they are not supposed to suffer. So those people don't pay. If it is to their benefit, yes, they will enjoy. But if it is against them, they will not. Now, subsection 3 says royalty at the rate specified shall be delivered to the Republic in kind. So if you produce 20,000 barrels of oil, you have to deliver to the Republic in kind. Bring it to us. Hey.
Somebody's mic is on.
The person is negotiating boundaries.
Yeah, we are not. We are done international ties, no jurisdiction.
So,
but Sir Francis,
yeah.
You know, when you showed the slide on the 85, I think it's supposed to be in kind, but it says that unless the minister directs in writing,
yes,
it should be paid in cash.
Yes.
So in these circumstances, it's allowed. That is,
it's allowed. It's allowed, but unless you get a written directive from the minister,
okay.
And we will come and we'll go to them when we start learning. We'll go to the Ministry of Finance website, and then we'll go and pick the data that they have reported, and you notice that all of them are in kind.
Okay.
So they will give it to us. They will calculate how much. You see, normally, if we don't say they should give it to us in kind, they will go and say they will bring us the money. But if you give it to me in kind and you tell me that I have 200 barrels of oil, I know the market price. So I multiply by it and collect my money. So that is on royalties. We'll come and learn more on these things when we start looking at the petroleum revenue. So the next item that I want us to look at is carried interest. Sometimes you see it's called participating interest. You see, all of this is a nice way of getting money from these guys who are extracting the oil for us. We want to participate in the business. We want to participate. So it's like you give us a free share. So the participating interest is mostly 10%. It used to be 10%, but we have changed it now. We'll come there. We'll come and look at it. So it is participating or carried interest. And it is given to the GMPC free of charge. We don't pay for it. For the exploration and production that any contractor engages in. So if you come and produce, after collecting the royalties, we say, you know what, we need 10% of whatever that you produce in addition. That is our free interest in the company. It is our right as a nation to get 10% of it. That is our non-capital contribution to the business. And so you must give us 10%. Now, this is provided under section 10, subsection 14. Let's go to of the petroleum. Like I said, we have, can you see my screen again? Please, if you can see, tell me.
I can see.
Okay, this is, you are going to answer them in the exams. Whether you like them or yes, you are going to answer them. Like I said, petroleum is the, oil and gas is the cheapest. So if I were you. So section 10, subsection 14 makes provision for this carried interest. So look at section 10. This is section 10. Talks about petroleum agreement. Subsection 14. This is what it says. A petroleum agreement. Okay. In other words, if you sign any petroleum agreement, a petroleum agreement, yeah, shall contain a term that the corporation, and when we say a corporation, we are talking about JMPC. The corporation shall hold an initial participating carried interest of at least 15% for exploration and development. It's, you see, now we are becoming wise, so we are changing the rules. Okay. It used not to be 15%. It used to be 10% before. So all agreements that are signed after 2016 are now saying what? 15%. But mostly the agreement that we have, they are all 10%, 10%. 10% used to be the rate. So we don't pay for this one. It is free for us. We collect it as a state. You give it to us. You get it?
So
Tallow, we have 10%, 50. I don't know. Okay, tallow might have been signed before 2016. So tallow will be 10%. We have free participating interest. So everything they produce, after collecting the royalty, we also collect participating interest.
So that we will be right to quote the 15, not the 10.
Depending on the agreement, the date of the agreement. So in exams, mostly we'll give you the rate. Okay. In exams, you'll be given the rate. But for sure, all the agreements that were signed before 2016, they were all 10%, 10%. So that's what we call the participating interest or carried interest. And it's,
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, please. You are saying the participating interest is free of charge.
Yeah, the government does not pay.
There is no, it doesn't pay anything for it. So once they produce, they give 15% to the government, and that is it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't contribute. You see, before you take a share of whatever we have worked for, you should have paid for it. But in this case, we use some nice way of telling the guys that, look, you know what, we don't have money to pay, but you must give us 10% stake. If you like it, take it. If you don't like it, go. And the people pay.
Okay.
And this one is in kind, not in cash.
Yes. In fact, we'll come and learn under the Act 815 that all the revenues are in kind unless the minister otherwise. So let me look for it. Let me look so that 815. When you are reading the 815, please be careful because it's been amended. Just 1 minute and let me see. Okay, this is the amendment. Don't worry, I'll share the listen with you. Okay. Hey, has my listen frozen? Okay. All right, let's continue. Guys, my thing has frozen now. All right, so I go to the next one, which is called additional interest. Additional interest. These are all revenue. Now, the additional interest is also additional one, but this one we pay for it. And it only occurs when there is a commercial discovery. So it says that after the discovery of commercial, after the discovery in commercial quantities, GMPC on behalf of the state can make a request to buy additional interest or additional share in the operations, and the entity must agree. Look at B. A petroleum agreement shall contain a term that the corporation shall, A is the initial participating interest that we talked about. B says have the option to acquire an additional participating interest as determined in the petroleum agreement. Can you see it? So after we have gotten the participating interest, we can acquire additional interest, additional participating interest. But this one will pay for it. But this is what it says, which may be exercised within a specified period of time. So Talo will say, or Aradako will say, okay, we have discovered commercial quantities in Cape 3 Points. Then they will inform the government. Do you want to acquire additional interest because we now have commercial quantity? Then they will give the specified period. Okay, government, you must pay $500 million for 10% additional interest. So it must be exercised within a specified period following the declaration of commercial discovery. And I say, and shall be a paying interest. Even though you will pay for it. It is not free, but we will pay in respect of cost incurred in the conduct of the petroleum activities other than exploration. Now, note other than exploration. I'm coming to explain to you why we have taken exploration from it. Now, we seem to have 3 main stages, okay, in the petroleum exploration. Someone's microphone is on. Nicholas. Good. Good. Now, when we give you the agreement, Parliament has ratified it under the Constitution. You need to go and explore. So we call it exploration. Explore means that you are looking for petroleum. Is that not it? You incur a lot of costs. Millions of cedis. Go and employ petrochemical engineers. They will go to the sea, go and test. And even after testing, they must make sure that this is proper. And if you are not careful and you go and employ some roadside petrochemical engineers from maybe KNUST, then you incur a lot of costs and you won't get anything. So these engineers will go to the field, they search and say, okay, looking at the land, and here we think that petroleum is here. Then they will discover petroleum there. Now, after the discovery, they must develop. So we call it the development. They must develop the well so that they can produce. After the discovery, then they go into production. Is that okay? These are the stages. So we are saying that the additional interest that we are paying for, it is not for exploration. Exploration there, if you explore and you don't get anything, you take your bags and go. But if you explore and you discover commercial quantity, then you go to the next stage. You now have to develop bring in your machines, and then it can now go on. All right, so that is why we are saying that we will pay for only all other activities excluding what? Exploration. So in exams, when we get to the calculation, I'll show you how to do it. We'll give you calculations, but we don't expect you to include the exploration cost when you are calculating the additional interest. The next item will be petroleum income tax. As for this one there, you know it. That is the corporate income tax. And they pay tax at 35%. Okay, we'll come and learn more about that. This one too is under section 86 here. So please read from 85 to I think 90 something, 91 or 87. You see it. So we first talked about the royalties. We talked about the additional oil entitlement, the additional interest, then additional participating. Oh, what am I saying? We've talked about additional interest. We've talked about participating interest. Good. And then we have talked about royalties. So 85 talks about payment of royalties. Then 87 talks about taxes. A licensee, contractor, subcontractor, and the corporation shall pay taxes, including petroleum income tax and capital gains tax, in accordance with the applicable enactment. So this is what we are talking about. Okay, petroleum income tax, currently 35%. Any question? I think I'll end here. I'm tired. I have to eat. So please unmute your mic and let's discuss. Any question? Hello?
Yeah, we are here.
Any question?
Hi.
Aren't you tired? We've been talking from 8. The next class will start when? 2, eh?
Yeah, 2, yeah.
Yes, I'm going to share the introductory notes with you. It's a video. That one I recorded is a video I'll share with you. So let's end here. We'll continue. Now that we are at home, I think we can be meeting frequently, or because we don't go to work.
Yes.
We can be meeting and then finish early, and then. So when you are bored, just WhatsApp me, and then we'll meet. At least you go to work.
Yes, I'm part of the essential services.
What is your essential service?
Fuel. I sell fuel.
They sell fuel station. Do you wear filling station?
Station.
No, she's fine, because when you look at the act, it's in there.
Telecom Grammy, I don't go. What are you going to do? You sell? Okay, are you at the pump?
But telecom, you are there. You are going.
If I don't sell,
but I won't go. I will be at home.
If I don't sell to the station, they cannot sell to you. So how
she has to, because the asset are supply and distribution of fuel. So she's fine.
I sell to the station before the station can sell to you.
But I think we can
Does that mean we should have a class?
Oh, you can have it.
We should have a time, yes. A conducive time where we can go.
That's